It's an issue many of us are all too familiar with. Homeowner insurance costs skyrocketing here in Texas.
Yeah, 13 Investigates found the number of times companies raised the cost of Texas homeowners insurance has more than doubled over the last decade. ABC 13's Shannon Ryan has spent weeks digging into this issue with her team. She's in the studio with what she found.
Well, this is something we felt was so important to share because, as many of you watching know, that costly homeowners insurance really is not an option if you have a mortgage. This is something you need to have, yet we found the cost is growing increasingly prohibitive.
It was just a perfect place for us and our kids.
Two men.
Taylor graduated from Sam Houston.
Living the same American dream.
Here's our collection.
Separate homes on the southeast side of town.
Obviously, we love the house.
Now plagued by the same impossible choice.
It's a great place to live, but you know, we're getting to a point where we're going to have to make some decisions.
It's scary.
John Kobaruvius and Robert Dempsey are among the growing number of Americans having to make the scary decision.
Oh, so they fully replaced?
Completely, yeah.
As to whether they should drop or keep their increasingly costly homeowners insurance.
If I would have to pay out of pocket, we're talking about $8,000.
That's not cheap.
It is a careful calculation, a wager high risk, absent a crystal ball. Still, $8,000 is small potatoes when looking at what John currently pays for homeowners insurance.
In 2000, I was paying $750 a year for insurance with a $500 deductible. Here I am now with over $6,000 a year with a $9,000 deductible. It has hit me in the pocketbook.
For Robert, things are even worse.
A couple years ago, the company that we were with sent us a letter that they were pulling out of Texas.
He and his wife had been paying about $4,400 a year for homeowners insurance.
Some of the quotes were even in the $15,000 and $18,000 range.
Finally, they whittled their new premium down to about $9,000, but had to jack up their deductible to get there.
If it's a named storm like a hurricane, it's like $27,000 with the current policy that we have.
The numbers are jarring.
What ran through your mind?
Shock. It was just complete shock.
Yet the situation is alarmingly common. 13 Investigates found the number of times companies raise Texas homeowners insurance has more than doubled over the last decade.
We're in an insurance crisis in the state.
Where Wendell, who runs insurance monitor The Texas Watch, says the sudden jump is happening in part because of the state's fair use system.
The insurance companies don't have to wait for approval from the Department of Insurance before they start charging rates.
If the state wants to oppose a rate hike, they have to drag an insurer through court. 13 Investigates found that rarely happens.
The last time we saw them do a big challenge of insurance rates was against State Farm. It took over 10 years.
Wendell's watchdog group is now petitioning to change the law.
We'd like to see a system here in Texas where overcharges are stopped before they start. That system is called prior approval.
It's something both John and Robert support.
You know, we're probably a lot more fortunate than most.
Understanding that those who haven't paid off their homes aren't afforded with the same difficult choice they've been.
This is not a free market. If you have a mortgage, you have to purchase homeowners insurance. You can't go without it.
Considering climate change,
More storms, stronger storms, more flooding.
coupled with current rules,
With it not really being watched or regulated by any sense that I can see, it's just going to go up faster and faster.
while fewer and fewer will be able to live this American dream. Not because of the cost to buy a home, but insured.
While we want insurance companies to make a reasonable profit in this state, we don't want them to make an excessive profit with a product that we are forced to buy.
Both John and Robert say their homes didn't flood during Harvey, that they've actually had to make very few homeowners insurance policy claims throughout the years, but sitting near the coast, their zip codes are still considered high risk. In the studio, Shannon Ryan, ABC 13 Eyewitness News.